the main thing that I've really been praying is God expand my capacity. Because you can expand my territory, but if I'm not in a position to properly manage the expansions, then it will go away.
Welcome to the Conversations with Kai Mann show. I'm your host, Kai Mann, and this is the show where we bridge the gaps, one story at a time. And today I have a treat for you guys. I have on the couch here with me, recording and performance artist, educator, and activist, Mahogany Jones.
Hey, Kai.
Hey.
What's up, y'all?
I am so glad to have you here. We've been kind of going back and forth a little bit. You've been a little busy doing your thing, and I got you on the couch. I'm so happy.
We did it.
We did it.
We done did it.
We done did it.
We done did it.
You are amazing. You are amazing. I've been watching videos. I've been actually, I had the pleasure, of course, to meet you when I was hosting a show on Urban Nation Radio. We did the Kim thing together. Yes. You had Denim Day, Detroit, and I was there, and I'm like, she's so dope. Like, she's so dope. I want to know, because we're going to take it all the way back. You know, we're going to go back to, like, mini Mahogany. You know?
Oh, God.
I want to know what the 10-year-old Mahogany Jones was like. Who was she, and what was she like?
Wow. Okay. Well, 10-year-old Mahogany Jones was 10-year-old Sharice Lois Bailey in New York City. I grew up in a small area called Mount Vernon. So I guess this is equivalent of like a Southfield to Detroit. So it's like outside of the city, like up in Westchester County where the Bronx was. And I always loved people. I was always very kind, but I was super shy and not very well received as a kid. So I really didn't have like a lot of friends. I was definitely teased, definitely taunted, and was just trying to figure things out, you know. But I love stories. I love to write. I was definitely encouraged by my grandmother. Any chance she got, she'd just be, oh, that's a great story we see, or, you know, that's really good, or she'd show her boss, like, oh, look what she wrote, and so yeah, so I was just Reese on the block.
Reese on the block. You, and when I hear that, it makes me think about one of the songs that you had written. And I was listening to it actually just today. I was listening to the song, and it kind of took me back to when I was younger. That's why I asked you that particular question. Because a lot of the things that you write about are about being African American, being dark-skinned, the life that we have lived. And when I sat there and I thought, I remember when I was 10 years old, I absolutely hated being dark-skinned. Like, I hated it, you know. Got teased, you know, got teased because I was the dark-skinned one. People would tell me, you know, adults would say, for you to be so dark, you're so pretty. Like, is that a compliment? Like, yeah. What is that, you know? And then on top of that, you know, just being the youngest out of my mother's 2 kids, like my mother's 3 kids rather. And just kind of like hearing that story and thinking about all of the young ladies that have, you know, darker skin and how sometimes that we've been kind of pit against each other. But it's just, you know, just thinking about that. So anyway, you write about the heart of matters. Is that because of who you were when you were growing up? What is that about?
I think about what made me want to become an artist, and there are a few artists that really made me want to become an artist, but the one who stands out to me, her name was Asha Bandelli, and she's still around. I think she actually was like an editor for like Essence magazine for some years. But she's a very interesting story. She was in love with someone who was a political prisoner, and they were just, you know, in a relationship for a long time. She had a lot of deep, heavy things happen to her. And I remember hearing her recite poetry when I lived in Brooklyn, and I couldn't say I automatically related. You know, I didn't have a lover who was incarcerated. I had never been molested. It was just all these things that I had never experienced. But the way in which she was so open to just like really being vulnerable, it was something about that touched me and rocked me. And it's like, you know, if you're gonna do art, that's the kind of art that you do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's, you know, and I'm grateful to my producer. Shout out to Ron Lee, because I remember I would write my rhymes like I would write poetry, and poetry can be very coded, or it can be very coded. It can be very forthright, but it can also be very like, it's a way you kind of play with words that you kind of get what I'm saying, but you kind of don't. And he really pushed me out of that. It was like, well, no, what are you really saying? What's really going on? Tell your story. And just realizing that it's like, okay, if I'm able to tell my story, whether it was me struggling and still trying to figure out like self-worth and self-value and self-esteem and healing and the assault on Black identity. You know, there's an assault. You don't even realize it. And I think when I was younger, though I wrote the song Skin Deep, as a child, I was upset about other things. You know, I was mad that I was fat. I was mad that I was tall. I was mad that I was, you know, my hair was short. I was mad because of those things. I thought those things made me unattractive. Not realizing that, okay, also being dark-skinned and being tall and having a deep voice, like all those things to a country that attacks the identity of Black Americans made me threatening. And so my whole life, just breathing in that, my whole existence was just wrong. You don't realize that you're living life out of that bag until you're 30 or you're 35. And it's like, oh, wait a minute. You know, why you change your voice? Why are you doing that? You know, why do you feel like you have to come in a room and you have to shrink? What's your take up room on purpose? You know, like come in a space and take up lots of space on purpose because you can. Because that's how God made you. God made you tall for a reason. He made your voice the way He made it for a reason. Like you take authority. You don't come and you don't alter or diminish what it is and who it is that you are because you're this way, because you have something to do, and other people are the way that they are because they have things to do the way that they are, and you doing what God told you to do the way that you are should not impede what they're doing. And if they feel like it does, well, shame on them, and so sorry not sorry. Right, you know, but it took me to just even come to that place. I mean, even recently outside of doing the song Skin Deep and really delving into issues of insecurities, Sidewalk just had a festival. It's like a big festival, an art festival in Detroit that I forgot her last name, but that her first name is Ryan, that she orchestrates with like other people who help curate the festival. And it was like, well, do a response to pretty much the 1967 happenings, aka riots, aka rebellion, however we want to say it. And I was like, I'm gonna do a hip hop theater piece. And I was like, well, what I want people to walk away with? It's just like, man, just get free at all costs. And it's just like, okay, well, where have you been bound? And I was like, I'm gonna do a piece, and it's called The Color Complex. So, and it's totally exploring what it's like to not feel free and to feel constrained, being Black, being dark-skinned in America.
Right. I when I listen to you, I think that the lyrics in your songs are like etched, or they should be like etched into African American history. Like you are a lyrical phenomenon. I was sitting there and I was going, oh my God, she is so amazing. And to think about, you know, you not only do you make people think about what it is that you're talking about, but you also give us a new place to be. And I say that, a new place to be, for the simple fact of I grew up in Florida. Detroit is predominantly African American. I when I came here, I was like, whoa, you know, because that's a culture shock for me, you know. And so being Black means something different when you're in the South than it does when you're in the North. And so the way that you just amazing songsmith, just the way that you put the words together and had you to really look at being Black or being African American from a different perspective. That's so dope. That's just so dope.
Yeah.
There's a question coming here somewhere. I just have to give you a prop.
Nah, when I say I'm just grateful, you know, and even that, you know, I think that there's a lot to be said. You know, you have this cool, now viewers, y'all can't see it, but it's really cool. It's a sign that says life begins at the end of your comfort zone. For everybody out there, that is so real. You know, and for me, my comfort zone, you know, there's a lot that comes with, it's like the elephant, the big elephant that's tied when it's a baby to the small post, and it's tied to the small post when it's baby and it can't break free, and it's mine. And as it grows older, it totally has the ability to break free because it's just this little string holding onto this little post. But in its mind, it's been trained since it was little, like, oh, you can't do that. Right. And so there's so much that comes with, there's so many things in my mind like I felt like I could never do, you know, and rapping is one of them. You know what I mean? So when I look at just how much of a struggle it was for me to just, as much as I love stories and love putting words together, just to do that in that way, and just the fight and the endurance, like, no, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. So to hear that, it's surreal. You know what I'm saying? Like, you asked me about 10-year-old Mahogany or 10-year-old Sharice, and 10-year-old Sharice would have never thought that I would get to do half of what I'm doing, you know? So it's just, we have something in us. We have a resilience in us. We have this brilliance in us as a people that opposition helps to mold and shape and cultivate, you know? It's this scripture that just says, you know, like, count it joy when you get like lots of trials, you know, because it shapes you and it helps you to come to this place of like, you know, it just works everything perfect in you. It makes you whole, you know, and I don't know your story, but I think it's phenomenal that, you know, and the viewers may not know, you know, that your journey in media has been like, bam, you know, like, but you've gone from like this to this, you know, and it's just like, we just
keep plugging at it.
Keep plugging.
Yep.
You know?
Keep plugging at it. You have been, you're a member of the foundation, Women in Hip Hop. It's a collaborative here in Detroit. What has that done for you as far as your hip hop career?
I think it's done so many things. So much respect to Piper Carter for even coming from New York and having the vision, and just realizing, you know, she was a part of two major movements. One, when Black Girls Rock was first started, she was a part of that conversation and launching it. And I think there was another that I can't quite put my finger on right now. So leaving New York City and then coming back to Detroit and seeing and going to different hip hop events and seeing, one, that, man, there weren't a lot of spaces for people to express themselves through hip hop and like have a cause or be activists or be conscious or serve the community or have like a community focus. That was one that she saw that was a void. And then two, just the idea that's like, yeah, you know, there's women who appreciate hip hop culture. We're all the beat girls, you know, we're all the writers, we're all the MCs, we're all the producers, we're all the DJs who are women who love hip hop just as much as men do. Like, where are they? And she just kind of wanted to build this new model of leadership and say, well, you know, yeah, this is my desire, but I don't do any of that. Like, I can dabble in each of the elements, but that's not my focus. Like, I want to help create a platform for women in hip hop so their voices are heard and so that they know that there's a safe space. So for me, it's been awesome. You know, we've had so many great opportunities as far as organizing and just platform, you know, so we've been at like several universities. We've worked with different professors who specialize in hip hop pedagogy and at different universities. We had the pleasure of putting together the first hip hop conference focusing on women in 2016, and Rhapsody was one of the headliners, myself, as well as Mama Soul. Opening up for Kim, getting to do that. I think we got to do that twice. So it's been so many opportunities, and I think even more so the biggest opportunity and how it's really expanded my career is just building camaraderie and friendships. You know, like I was just telling you, you know me and my sis JC, we was playing football.
Yeah.
Yes, y'all playing football today. It's my first time ever. I was on that field. I wasn't handling the ball. I was getting hit with that ball. But I'm learning. But you know, that all happened with my sis who I met in the foundation, you know what I mean? And
right.
to just be able to come together like on some like, you know, transformer type, like, oh, you do this, oh, you do this, or you do production, or you MC, or you DJ, oh, you rhyme, you take pictures, you know. So I just think about the massive amount of talent in women, and to be look at another woman's face and be affirmed and be like, we doing this.
Right.
Yeah.
How hard has it been for women in hip hop?
I think it's very hard, and for reasons that at the time when I was just frustrated and I didn't understand, and I never wanted to be associated with my gender and my art. It's like, just respect my art for what my art is. It's frustrating to be singled out because of my gender and do this, but it is a very big thing. You know, hip hop is a threat because it is the blood, sweat, and tears of the voice of the marginalized.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something about there's a power in it, and that power coming from the most marginalized group ever. And I don't know whether it's men of color or women of color, probably women of color, but we'll take men of color, you know what I'm saying, and it's specifically Black and Hispanic men. You know, and there's this bravado, there's this aggression, there's this machismo, there all the things that represent masculinity in the world's eyes, and a hyper aggressiveness that's associated with hip hop, that a lot of people feel uncomfortable when that identity is now placed on women. And I just think like that really doesn't happen for poetry, or that doesn't happen for singing. But there's something about the culture of hip hop that is in your face. Mm-hmm. Like, you're not going to shut me up. And I'm all, you know, and there's something about the way that we deal with identity that just really subconsciously messes with people. And I feel like, you know, there's a lot of things that are misplaced in general. You know, the problems that I have as a woman in hip hop speak to the problems that women have in American society. Mm-hmm. You know, period. I should be able to be assertive and not be mistaken for being aggressive. Right. I'm being assertive. I'm not being aggressive. If I did the same thing that a man did, the same way a man did it, you would applaud him for it, and you would admire it. Right. But you see it in me, and now I'm being aggressive. Now I'm being a bee. So I'm not being any of those things. Right. I know what I want. I'm going to get what I want. And I'm going to be respectful about it, but I'm direct. And I see men, I see women who they choose, that's who they choose. But if that's how they choose, I'm for this. I'm for authentic expression. Don't look at me and because I'm in a skirt and because I'm attractive and I'm not overly sexualized, but I'm not overly masculine, that now all of a sudden you're confused and there's no box for you to put me in. I'm a human being with a valid human experience that if you saw beyond what the packaging, you could glean a lot from if you just listen to the music and let the music be the music. And I'm not saying a feminist music. I just want to know why can't the music be the music.
Wow. We're going to let that soak in for just a second. We're going to take a quick break. This is the Conversations with Kai Mann show. I'm your host, Kai Mann. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Mahogany Jones.
Iology Inc., an innovative, navigational, and creative company that works with its clients from the inside out. We believe in walking our clients hand in hand, from concept creation to brand management. Our innovative process assists our clients in conceptualizing, developing, building, rebuilding, or restructuring their lives, businesses, and brands. Are you ready to be seen, heard, and remembered? Contact us at iologyinc.com.
Focus One Entertainment is Detroit's premier entertainment company. But we're not just an entertainment company. we are your #1 multimedia resource. Focus One has combined years of talent and experience in order to bring you what you're looking for in a video, a polished professional product. F1 Entertainment specializes in filming workshops, seminars, and corporate presentations. More and more businesses are utilizing video production services to create web virtuals, online marketing content, and promotional and corporate training videos. Your company can do the same with Focus One Entertainment. Contact Focus One Entertainment at 313-444-3638 or visit us on the web at www.focusoneNtertainment.com.
And we are back. This is the Conversations with Mann show. We had to bring it back. You guys know how it is. We get ready to take our little break. We're supposed to just chill and do what we need to do. We start talking. We have to bring it back.
Gotta bring it back.
We have to bring it back. So, Mahogany, you were talking about how your assertiveness, how it has been perceived just in general. What has that been like for you?
It's hard. It's really hard and it's heartbreaking. You know, I think that I see a lot of my counterparts who are women who, I know it sounds crazy, and it's me too. You know, it's dealing with my own demons of insecurity, and the more comfortable I become with myself and the more permission I give myself, the more I see others giving me permission artistically and embracing that this is who I am as an artist. But I'm an empath, so I feel, you know what I mean? And so, you know, I can feel like, and oddly enough, I started, the genre that I started in was considered Christian hip hop. And for a while it was just like, you know, and when I first started, I started in 2001, and I just come from doing this show back in the day, BET's 106 Park Freestyle Friday, and it was a big deal back then. Free and AJ, shout out to Free and AJ.
It's still a big deal.
It was a big deal back then, before Roxy and whoever else. And it was this competition. I had just only been rapping a year, and I also had rededicated my life to the Lord, and you know, got a chance to do the competition. And, you know, my friends were kind of like, girl, you know, you need to just stick to poetry. You're not even no good rapper. My first show, I was terrible. My God. My first show, I was reading my lyrics from the notebook, like, and it was terrible. I was so nervous. It was so bad. So my friends who saw me do that was like, now you about to go on national television and you about to battle? Bruh, you about to lose, dog. And so I was like, Lord, literally just like, I was like, Lord, please don't have me going here looking crazy. I promise if you let me win 4 times, that I will represent you well. I will give you props. And you know, it sort of was like Nicki Minaj saying, I would like to thank God for, you know, all these things that I've done. But, you know, I am talking about busting it down and whatever. So that was my first battles, you know what I'm saying? I would go in on people, and then afterwards, like, I like to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You know, even after I was being real ratchet. And I love Nicki, so shout out to Nicki. I'm a big Nicki Minaj fan. So that was no low blow. I really do like her. And I'm really feeling Cardi B. I don't know where I just love her. You guys, I love me some Cardi B. I don't know why. She's so cute. Okay, I said more. Okay. So yeah, so I did that. I was like, man, I'm doing this. So when I came into like Christian hip hop, everybody was like, oh, who's the chick on the scene? And she was battling and she was winning. She didn't lose, blah, 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 blah. You know, and I don't even necessarily think it was like I was super phenomenal. I just think like I can freestyle and my opponents could not. So it's like, you up here doing writtens and they whack and I'm a freestyle. I'm going to be good. So, in God's grace, I really can't take credit. Like, I would even hate to see those battles. So I did that, and I could feel the pushback. And I could feel my male counterparts kind of like whisper that I was dope, but not give me the room to be dope. You know, say that I was dope, but not give me the platform or the same amount of shows. So it's like, okay, I'm just as good as you. You enjoy my music, you like my message, my male counterparts are getting invited and getting paid to do shows, they're going on tours, they are making a living, they're feeding their family, their wives and their children off of doing their art, Meanwhile, you want to call me and ask me, can I do it for $25 in chicken tonight?
Wow.
You know, so it's like, or not call at all. So I was definitely like, I was definitely hurt. I was hurt. And then it was awesome because just even in that time, you know, like God began to just open up other doors for me to do other things and it not be in an exclusively like Christian hip hop arena. And it was like, okay, well, I'm not going to continue to fight to be a part of something that clearly is not really embracing me. So it's like, okay, I'm just going to go somewhere else. So it can be rough. And I think a lot of that equation does have to do with the fact that, you don't know what to do with me. You know, I'm black, I'm dark, I'm big, my voice is authoritative. I don't know. I just feel like it's too much. It's like be cute and mousy, or be cute and sexy, or be all boy, but you a girl, but you spit bars, but you not like being mad. I don't know what to do with you. I'm straight. It's just, I can't. Like, either you're gonna be my homie, or I'm gonna objectify you. But all the in between space, like I can't. It's too much. You doing too much.
Wow.
You know. So.
Wow. So you've been in the business for how long now?
I guess 16 years.
And in that 16-year period, what has changed?
Oh my gosh, so much has changed. You being able to get a deal, you know, like that being a real thing. To a lot of the power being on your own. And so it's kind of like the great thing about being an entrepreneur. It's like, oh, I work for myself. But then it's like, oh, I work for myself. You know, so pardon me, back in the day when you know you can get this great advance, you can get this great deal, you have this big machine that's pushing you, that's pumping you, CDs for sale, the music industry has a verifiable product to push that's in the form of music, and they're selling like hotcakes. And so, you know, that means, and that trickle down, and then artists being able to tour and do shows and sell merch and sell product, and so the artists making their money that way, and then the label making their money from the product. But then when the big machine kind of slows up because no one needs the widgets anymore, no one needs a CD. Right. Now you can get music for free, and that dynamic shifting, and now it being like, okay, let's do a 360 deal. You know, let's focus. You know, where you think about, you know, Chance the Rapper didn't sell any albums. It was all free download. But what did he do? He got an endorsement deal. He got backing. You know, he's doing these Kit Kat commercials. He is profiting off of his brand and who he is. And so it just kind of moved into that place. The fact that there's social media, you know, that you can really build your own base of a super fan, or you can build your own base of like fans who are dedicated, and you have control on like telling your story and who you are, and you kind of building up that demand so that when a label does approach you, a lot of it you have the ability to kind of just do on your own. So that's a major shift. Also another major shift in the last 16 years is I feel like there were multiple figures of women in hip-hop even when I was starting. So I mean, you think about in the 90s, there were so many different women and just so many different ways and different genres of hip-hop, you know, whether both coastal and just representations of women. You know, even when you had a group like TLC, it was like you could be cute, you know what I'm saying? It's like you had all these options. And then I feel like we went from options and there being multiple spaces. You know, it's like, you know, Foxy Brown, Lil' Kim, the chick from Diggable Planets, Lauryn Hill, The Brat, Trina. You know, it was all these different representations, Missy, of how you could be represented. You know, if you wasn't down with this, you could be down with that. If you wasn't down with this, you could be down with that. You could be down with all of them. You know, and each of them kind of represent you to, nope, it's just this. Nope, it's just this. You know, and even sonically, like, okay, now it's just trap. You know, this is what it is. This is the sound. This is the pervading sound. There's no, like, West Coast has a sound, East Coast has a sound, Midwest has a sound. It's, it's one sound. It's these 6 songs you're going to hear on the radio all day long. Program directors don't have, on the radio, don't have say. Back in the day, a program director or radio was really big on breaking artists. And now radio just doesn't have the same appeal. You really do have to go to college radio. So it's so many things that have changed.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you move from that space, though? Because of the fact that, some of these changes, they're great. I mean, some of these changes, too, as well, they are dynamic in the way that things used to be versus where they are now. And some of these changes happen overnight, or seem like they happened overnight. How do you even begin to change who you are, change your sound, or even still stay in that zone where you are?
And I think that that's a hard thing to negotiate, and it's been an interesting place for me to negotiate. And even as I continue to move forward, I think when it's all said and done, I'm reading this book. It's called The Artist's Way. It's a great book for people who feel like they have an inner artist that they want to nurture, or just even if you're on an artistic path in whatever capacity, because we all create. Being creative is art, so whatever. But one of the things it says, one of the agreements that it makes you do is say, God, you take care of the quality, I'm going to handle the quantity. And just really letting yourself go. And I think it's important to know what your peers are doing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, know who's working around you, know who's putting in that work, understand why people are gravitating to that sound, get it, and then figure out where's your comfort place. Like, where will you grow, but where will you stay true to who you are? And to embrace, it's like, okay, I hate when people book me to do shows for little kids. You know why? Because I make grown-up music.
Right.
Like, I do hip-hop soul. It's like, bringing Al Jarreau to come and do a show for 10-year-olds. Little kids don't hear no Al Jarreau. I'm an old lady. And I talk about old lady stuff, and I got old lady sound, and that's what I like. Now I might give you a little hippity hoppity rappity rap, boobity bop, and I rap. I love to rap. But, sonically what I like soul music. You know what I'm saying? So just realizing, like, yeah, it's going to be more Robert Glasper, less Cardi. So, yeah, I think it's just being comfortable with yourself. And I think that's anything. So even if someone's not a musician, you have to assess your own value and your own worth, and you have to be very familiar with your value and your worth and know what you bring to a situation, and also be willing to evaluate what can you do to stay valuable.
Right.
You
have I would dare to say, because most of us have, from the place that we began, standing in front with your notebook and being awful, to being this amazing dope artist. The stuff in between, what has been the one thing that most people say there's something that happens that just turns the light on for them? Like, one moment you're this person, and the next moment you've changed into that artist that you're looking to be. What happened in your life that made you become this dope artist?
Moments. Definitely major defining moments. From the when I started doing poetry, and like I said, I would just read my paper from my face. I was super shy, really scary. Somebody came up to me and was like, when you gonna put that paper down? When you gonna stop hiding? Because I was very comfortable with my voice, but my body I wasn't, and I just was like, don't look at me, and all this stuff in my head. And it's like, well, people want to hear what you have to say. I was like, they do? They do? So it's like, yeah, so focus, have fun, and have fun. But people want to hear what you have to say, so say it. Be serious about what you have to say, because it's important. And so realizing that I had something to contribute, that only I can contribute the way that I can contribute, and it was very important. And I was driven by the fact that I had something to say. I wasn't, and I try to stay there, in that place where it's like, be driven by what's in your heart, be driven by your love for people, be driven by, like they tell salespeople, it's like, okay, you're not just pushing something off on somebody, you're providing a solution.
Right.
So it's like, if you're confident in the fact that you are providing someone a solution, you understand your worth in that. you have to get over it. And I'm nervous every time, but it doesn't matter because I know what I'm there for. You know, so I think that was just a major turning point. And my relationship with God, and God just affirming me. I think I just not being affirmed and not feeling safe to be myself, and God saying like, oh, I'm so into you, into all your quirks, into everything about you that's crazy, into everything about you that's weird, and I'm gonna use it to not only make, you know, you great and make my name great, but help other people to understand and embrace what's great in them. Wow.
We're gonna let that just soak in. We're gonna just let that soak in. We're going to take a quick break. This is the Conversations with Mann show. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Focus. The state or quality of having or producing clear definition. Focus One Entertainment is the premier videography company in the Midwest. We specialize in weddings, corporate events, documentaries, sporting events, and films. Regardless of the scope or budget, we approach every project the same way, by capturing and clearly defining your vision. Contact us at 313-444-3638 or www.focusoneEntertainment.com.
Back to the Conversations with Mann show. I'm your host, Mann, and today we have Mahogany Jones sitting on the couch. On the couch. Mahogany has me cracking up laughing during the breaks.
Y'all listen, she got this pineapple. And I'm trying to sneak in a few pieces during the break, and I was ready to take that third bite. I was like, girl, you about to start, you can't be eating no pineapple. But this pineapple good, y'all. I want to just go ahead and split. Got you like that. That's like TV. Take a little bite, like they do on TV, and like the dinner table when they like.
Oh my goodness!
See, you are hilarious. Okay,
you are hilarious. What has been? You have traveled like all over the world. I know you've gone to Africa. You've just been everywhere. Mm-hmm. What has been the most impactful to you?
Hands down, my journeys to Sudan, back and forth to Khartoum, Sudan. I've been many places. I've been to different countries in Europe. I've been to Brazil. I've been to very interesting countries in Asia. I just recently was in Pakistan. We just went on tour Pakistan and Montenegro. Not Montenegro, Madagascar. Mm. But I had a series of time for about 3 years where I was going back and forth to Sudan for nothing less than 3 weeks, in 3 week spurts, and the longest I stayed was almost 2 months. And it was really hard because, of course, a lot of the amenities are not there, but the people were just so rich and so beautiful and so kind. And about the first week I'm there, my eyes are open. Every second is called to prayer. It's 6 in the morning. I'm like, y'all gonna make me get my life together. Y'all Muslims like, you better get up and pray. It's like, all right, Lord, I'm gonna get up and pray. I'm gonna get up and pray. Like, it was just rough, but it was beautiful. It was one of the most transformative times that I've had, and I got to not just go and perform music, but I got to have the opportunity to create and administer a leadership development program. And when they asked me to do it, I was like, who, me? You want me to do leadership? I'm not a leader. I don't know what to tell them. But I realized, like, no, you are, you know, and yeah, so how do you cultivate that in yourself, and then how can you cultivate and empower others to do the same? And, you know, not everybody has to have like this huge political platform to be a leader. You know, everybody's watching everybody.
Right.
You know, our lives are speaking. You know, you're speaking to and encouraging so many people, you know, by just where you are in life and what you decided to do and how you do it, and the fact that you want to use media to provide healing, you know, and me with my little space, or just what we use and how we use it, you know, so whatever, but that was the best, and I miss them dearly.
Cool. Well, so when we talk about platforms, how would you define yours?
So, you know, I just kind of been praying this prayer, you know, the prayer Jabez, like, Lord, enlarge my territory, blah, blah. But the main thing that I've really been praying is, God, expand my capacity. Because you can expand my territory, but if I'm not in a position to properly manage the expansions, then it will go away, you know. So I know that I really struggle, like, I'm a big visionary, you know, but keeping the pieces all together. So it's just like, just really praying and asking for the integrity and for the capacity to really be a good steward over the platform that he gives me. You know, so I feel like my platform is definitely in the media arts. It's definitely entertainment, and just kind of, I feel like it's my platform is threefold. I feel like my platform is entertainment, it's education, and activism. And I like to see all those kind of in a three-chord kind of way, like, work themselves into each other, you know. So.
When did you, I'm going to ask you the age-old brown sugar question. When did you fall in love with hip-hop?
I fell in love with hip-hop when I had first heard MC Light. I got skipped and put in my right grade, because when I moved from California, they put me back a grade, but then I was doing well, so they put me in my right grade, I think. So I went from 3rd to 5th. And it was my 5th grade year, and my throat was sore, and I forgot, I think I heard Paper Thin. When you say you love me, it doesn't matter. It goes into my head, and it's just chit-chat, you may think it's egotistical and just very free, but what you say, I take it seriously. Okay, anyway. So I memorized the whole joint when my throat was sore, because then I really sounded like MC Light when my throat was sore. And I loved it, and I just fell in love with all these other artists. And then I had this whole period where I was really deep with my tree hugger hip hop hoppers. You're saying De La Soul, Brand Nubian, Black Sheep, you know, it just, like, I can remember Beastie Boys. You know, so I fell in love with hip hop at a very special time. You know, I remember growing up in New York City, Hot 97 and the different radio stations, and DJ Red Alert. You could only hear hip hop on the radio once a week. You could only see hip hop videos once a week. And yeah, so I fell in love. You know, hip hop was a little older than me, you know, so hip hop, I was born in 78. Hip hop, so I'm 39 and hip hop is 44. You know. Yeah. So
you fell in love with that.
Yeah.
When did you know that the Mahogany Jones that you are had to become an activist?
I think I always knew that. I think I didn't want. I've always just felt deeply for things that were going on in the world that were happening that were wrong, and growing up and seeing poets around me they had something to say, you know, poets and MCs, you know what I'm saying? I just remember when I first started MCing, I first started doing poetry, it was also during a beautiful time because it was in 2000, and I was in New York City, and I was in Brooklyn. So when you think about when Slam came out, when the movie Slam came out with Saul Williams, like I had lived that 2 years before that movie came out.
Wow. With
Jessica Campbell, with Mums the Schemer, who was on the show Oz, with Wood Harris, who, you know, was in all, you know, so I was around these people, you know, I remember going to Nkuru Books and being around Talib Kweli and Mos Def. You know, I remember when Erykah Badu used to go to open mics before she got signed to Universal. You know, I remember doing shows, being on the same bill as India Ari. You know, so it was just like, you know, I was steeped in a culture of artists who were like, yeah, there's a lot of whack stuff happening in the world, and it is our duty, it is our obligation to talk about that stuff. And yeah, we're having fun, but let's not have too much fun.
Right.
Some real stuff going on in the world.
Right.
You know, so I never saw them as being separate. You know, whether it was sharing the love of Christ or just sharing the reality of life and just actually merging the two. You know, so always.
So what do you think now about, you know, hip hop and the way that it's kind of going at this particular?
I think there's hope. I think there was definitely a season where I did not think there was hope. I was like, oh my God, like, yes, Nas, you're right, hip hop is dead. But nah, I think it was a time where I really didn't understand the genre of what people call mumble rap, blah, 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 blah. People kind of have their thing with it. But I applaud us. I think that, you know, what we're hearing is a direct correlation with the failing educational system. And I think even in spite of not having the proper tools to properly articulate thought, that we're still ingenious. It's like, yo, our cadences are crazy. The way we put stuff together is crazy. We're just genius. We're genius. Whether you give us the tools that we need to be certified, go out and be an engineer, you can't kill our genius, regardless. You know, so I think it's great, and I think that there are rappers who are representing well. Your Odysseys, your Kendricks, your J. Coles, your Chance the Rappers. You know what I mean? Your Rhapsodies, your No Names. You know, it's still some educated rappers in the world. Myself.
I love that. When I hear the not only just the tone, the quality of your words and the way that you speak, the metaphors, and I mean, it's just lyrically I don't even want to say lyrically genius because that's just too superficial. Like, it's crazy though. You have grown up in all this, I don't know what I want to call it, because it's so amazing to be able to be cultivated in the space that you were cultivated in. How are you nurturing other young artists?
Oh, definitely. I think it's all about passing the baton. So I'm a big arts education advocate, and I myself am an arts educator. I currently work with 2 nonprofits, and I'm an adjunct instructor at the Detroit Institute of Musical Education downtown on Griswolds with Don. I work with Living Arts. I work with Inside Out Literary Arts. And even if I wasn't doing all of that, you know, there have been many young women who, you know, they're like, oh, I look up to you, or it's like, oh, well, what advice do you have, or, you know, any resource that I have, any way I can use my platform to help them, or any connection, you know, or just, you know, yeah, I mean, it's each one teach one, you know, and I definitely, you know, am about, like, equipping the next generation to take the baton. You know, I just want to be on my Debbie Allen.
Right.
I want to be somewhere with a stick. Tell me somebody.
I love it.
That's all.
My Debbie Allen. That's
it. Me and Pop Debbie Allen.
Wow. So you have had this amazing career. You've had an amazing career. Where is it that Mahogany Jones is going? Where are you going? And what are you doing? All the places we will go. We don't know.
I recently got the honor and pleasure. I was commissioned by an agency, Imagination of the Americas, in conjunction with United Way, to write a brand anthem for them and to get to perform it. And it was great. It was the most fulfilling thing I've ever done. And it's so crazy to say, out of all the things that God's given me the ability to be able to do, I really liked it.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, God, wherever you want to take us, and yeah, I feel, shout out to Issa Rae, shout out to Childish Gambino. There's no boundaries. Shout out to like your Odysseys and to Black Milks, who, to yourself, you're producing media, you know what I mean, and you're producing media content, and you're also writing, you know what I mean, and you have books, and I just feel like the way that we tell stories, if you're a storyteller, you can tell stories any kind of way.
Right.
So I want to continue to tell stories through music. I want to tell stories through film. I want to tell stories through theater. I want to tell stories through photography. I want to tell stories through education and curriculum. It's got a lot of stories to tell. So we're going to get these Grammys, we're going to get these Emmys. We're going to teach these babies. We're going to love on each other. It's going to be a good ride until God says that out.
I know that's right. Has it been hard to kind of marry the two? Your gospel roots, so to speak, with, your hip hop?
Yes and no. I just feel like you're an artist, you're going to do what's inside of you. I mean, there's a lot of artists who, when they don't do it because they feel they have something to say, are able to easily kind of turn that off and just do what people want. But my biggest thing that's made it so hard for me is that I always felt like I was like a bridge. I never felt like super comfortable like at church, and I never felt like I was ready to just be all out there, I guess in the world of secular arenas. But it's like I just kind of wanted to just share my life through the context of what it's like for me as a Christian. I think the same way that Mos Def does, and he shares the same way Lupe Fiasco does for his faith. It's the same way Kendrick does for his faith, or Chance the Rapper does for his. It's just like, this is my life, and I'm living my life through the context of being a follower of Christ, and it doesn't alienate you, and you're totally invited to just kind of peek in on my experience. And if it's a choice that you make and you want to get on the bus, awesome. If you choose to just say, I like watching your journey and watching your ride, and that's not a journey you want to take, cool. I respect you. You respect me. Come get this dope music.
So we have had this amazing
It was so amazing. I hope people ask bad questions. You ask great questions.
Thank you. I appreciate it. There was so much. You gotta come back. Like, you literally have to come back. You have to come back. But I want you to tell us where we can find you.
Find me like you find Waldo. No, just joking. MahoganyJones.com. That's MahoganyJones.com. Also, I'm a big Instagram. I put everything on Instagram, even before my website sometimes. So @MahoganyJones. I'm not being ghetto. Somebody else said Mahogany Jones. Who knew so many people want to be Mahogany Jones? I don't know. Anyways, so those are the best ways to get at me. I have a new song out. It's called Gold. Please look it up on YouTube. It's really a great video. I really like it. And I have an album out called Sugar Water, so support. All my albums are available on all online outlets.
Amazing. What do you have coming up?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's so funny. My brain just went blank. I'm working on a new album, self-titled My Birth Name, Sharice. So it's gonna be pretty real. I'm also working with a trumpeter and composer named Chris Johnson. So we're working on a project together that I think is gonna be pretty phenomenal, EP. And I have an organization called the Pure Movement that you came to Denim Day and shot with. I always forget
Jason.
Yes, with Jason.
Yeah.
So we have 2 events coming up. The first is coming up right upon us, which is Pure Purple, which we advocate for domestic violence and speak out against domestic violence. And then look out in April because we'll be getting ready and gearing up for Denim Day Detroit, which will speak out against sexual assault. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you again for coming on the show. We appreciate you.
Thank you. This was awesome.
Awesome. This has been the Conversations with Kai Mann show. I'm your host, Kai Mann. Good night.